Tuning in to Chaos Culture Radio, dropping knowledge in the studio you already know.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Chaos Culture Radio.
Yes, sir.
It's your boy Prince Hakeem.
And this your man, Ron. Hakeem, man. It's been a long
It's been
week,
a long time.
Bro, I was calling you. The phone was busy. Calling you. The phone was busy. Man, I'm getting tired of calling you, man. You need to call me sometimes, man.
Hey, you know, last week was a rough week, but we back at it once more time.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear because you know the fans were waiting. And not only that, Hakeem, we also got our guests back again.
Oh man, our supporting our what they call them people that always come back, like when our continuance contributor. Yeah, you know what I mean. Our political analyst, our great friend, home team. Our boy JP Williams, and people, please go to his Facebook group page, support my homeboy. Let them know where they can find your Facebook page.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank y'all boys for having me back on the show. It's always fun to talk with my eyes, open about stuff. I'll do my little plug at the end, but we can get into it.
Man, okay. Let's not waste no time. Ronnie,
yeah.
Get it? Yeah.
You ready to go, Hakeem? He's on fire because there's something very. This has been the whole topic the whole weekend. People been tweeting about people with different reaction when it comes to the little Nas video. You get what I'm saying? That's the topic of the day. It seems like they really trying to feminize the man, especially with this video coming out with the little Nas called Monterio. It's a very graphic video. A lot of people who got a lot of reaction from it. But let's talk to JP about it. Like, JP, have you seen the video?
I was able to just see it before we started, and I don't know if I need to see it twice, to be honest.
Oh, man.
Rather, for me, first time seeing it, very repulsive, is very unnecessary. And whatever message they're trying to convey, or at least saying that they're trying to convey, it's not getting across because there's way too much distraction with all of this, devil symbolism. I understand, like I said before, behind the scenes, I'm very sympathetic towards, LGBT cause, but if you're trying to get people on your side, this is not the way to do that. It's just not. It's just gonna make people upset.
So what about you, Hakeem? How do you feel about the video when you first saw it?
Just to be honest, because I don't really care what happens to me, I threw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
That's not hip-hop.
Nah.
He does not represent what hip-hop talks about. None of the blog sites ever talk about him. The hip-hop blogs that I follow, news media sites, he's not no activist. He doesn't represent African Americans at all. I just want to get that straight. That stuff he's doing, knowing that we come from the Bible Belt, no, we don't support stuff like that, especially playing with black people's Christianity. That's not cool.
But, he also said it in his Twitter account recently on March 26th. He said, y'all saying a gay nigga tweaking on CGI, Satan is in the end of time, like slavery, and the Holocaust didn't happen. Like, it didn't happen.
Oh.
So because a lot of people's reacting to him, especially a lot of Christian, and a lot of, even men going after him. He's saying why y'all going after me? It's not really that big of a deal. It's just an art.
Oh no, it is a big of a deal. Because the thing about it is, it's the complex thing young guys don't understand. I'm a little bit coming up from the era I come. When you do something extreme, doesn't matter. As long as it's extreme, they attach that to every black person. You are a walking representation of black people in America. And mind you, here's the thing. They don't ask if you're Caribbean. They don't ask if you African. They don't ask if from whatever these places. Oh, that's a nigga doing.
Right.
Right.
And we need to draw the line to that. And this is why, there's so many layers to this Little Nas X theory where I think that this is a propaganda. And you see what I'm saying? Because when I seen that, I said, okay, they promoting that gay stuff. I say, people who listen to the podcast, we do not have a problem with it. Here's the thing, though. You should allow us to run our household the way it is. I had to turn that thing off because my niece watches YouTube. You feel what I'm trying to say? I had to say, hey, hold on a minute. Hold on. What? Go ahead, JP.
Go ahead, JP.
I think sometimes in an effort to assert yourself, a lot of times people tend to try to, shock people's systems, right? But that can have an adverse effect. So, like you were saying before, we're very much so concentrated in the South, which is the Bible Belt. And when you're trying to like if the propaganda was based in such a way where you're trying to push a message of acceptance for gay people, what you don't want to do is mix that same message to the people who have this uh very toxic relationship with homosexuality in the first place, being black people. You don't want to mix that message with demonic messages, because now you're losing the audience. So is your desire to build a bridge for people to have acceptance for the LGBT community, or are you trying to do something else? It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know who he got advice from to make this video or not, but this was a bad move for the LGBT community.
But I want to ask you, JP, because you are political analysis, so you know a lot of stuff when it comes politically. Do you feel like it's attack? Do you feel like it's an attack on masculinity, especially when it comes to the black man, to feminize the black man?
So I think it is. I think it is because, all right, it depends who you ask. But when you talk about masculinity, some people could say, it could be defined in different ways. But I feel as though, in terms of a conservative approach to masculinity, what it does is that it pretty much turns everything upside down on its head. And when you do that, it has an adverse effect on the community. It has an adverse effect on the family as well. What am I supposed to do as a man, or what are we supposed to do as black people when our families are in the condition they're in? And then you give this as the model of what it means to be a black man. That's not something that is going to help our condition. It actually only further confuses people and further makes it harder for people to, even have empathy for us in the first place, because he is representing, like Hakeem said, when they see, they don't ask, is this person, from Africa or the Caribbean? No, they assume that the person is just us, like in terms of Adolf, because blackness in this country, you essentially, when you come into America, you step into a portal of blackness that's different than anywhere else, and everything negative that happened is associated back to us, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
100. And just to add on that, just to give a breakdown of here's the thing: in America, the symbol of patriarchy is with a woman now, not a man.
Right.
The imagery that they promote is a single mom with kids, is a mother, and now they're promoting men as women per se now, and women as men. This is the images I've been seeing for the last couple years. So this, in a sense, mind you also got to remember, there was a quotation, Montero, call me by my name. That's a movie. He referenced that from a gay movie that was done. Call Me by My Name.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So he is going to be the poster for this. It's just the same way where JP, I don't know if you remember a couple years ago when Atlanta was the epicenter for gayness. You remember that?
Right. Yeah.
And there was, and mind you, I remember this vividly online. There was a couple black guys with a T-shirt where it says, "Gay is the new black."
Yeah. Yes.
And I remember that. I said for myself, for me being a very masculine male who wake up every morning, works a hard job, and pay bills, I was very disturbed by that. But me telling somebody I'm disturbed by that, that's it.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it's anything to have to do with not liking. I think that, well, first and foremost, let me say this. I have friends who are, homosexual, right? But I've had an experience where a friend, and I go out of my way to make people feel comfortable in terms of LGBTQ people, because I understand, as a person who is oppressed, what it's like to be looked at in a certain light. But what happens, and what a lot of people don't recognize, is that a lot of these people, a lot of these black men, or men in general, gay men, are very, very, very predatorial. They will go out of their way to try and turn a straight man, or to try and seduce a straight man to come into their world.
That's facts.
And I had a roommate, like, being a very honest conversation. Yeah. I had a roommate, a former roommate, who I was a friend with, and he started getting a little bit too personal with, in messaging, and, how are you doing, checking up on each other. We haven't seen each other in a while. And then he started telling me about certain experiences he had. And I was trying to be cordial at first, but then it gets out of control, because now you're trying to pull me in. And that's not something I'm about. And so I think a lot of these people don't recognize that you gotta take a chill pill on this. Like, a lot of people aren't ready for this. And when you try to act as if it's something that and I don't want to say that it's not normal, but when you try to act as if it's something that people should see as normal, when we live in a heterosexual society for the most case, it's not working in your favor. Because now,
no, but JP on their
out of,
defense, but JP, here's the thing on their defense. This is the stuff I've been hearing. Not only that, but I've been reading articles when it comes to like equal rights. They were saying the LGBTQ community feels like it's like the same way with the civil rights movement, because they're like, ain't the way the civil rights movement kind of forced blacks to be accepted by whites.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they feel. They say they doing the same thing the blacks did. So they saying they pretty much copying whatever the blacks did. So they kind of calling it like the same way as the civil rights movement, which I kind of disagree. But go ahead.
I mean, I completely disagree, because what every group of people, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's other minority groups, what they try to do is they latch on to our justice claim. They try to latch on to our experience in this country, which is a very unique and long tenured experience with white supremacy. And they try to take the power and draw that power away from what we're fighting for towards what they're fighting. And as a result, they tend to take the shine away from an issue that affects 40 million black people to highlight something that affects a very small minority of people within that group. And I'm not saying that their issues aren't important, but what I'm saying is that when you make this false equivalency between your suffering and the suffering of the group at large, it's just very disingenuous, and it's actually harmful towards our cause. Because now you're taking, like I said before, you're taking attention away from something that affects men, women, children, and LGBTQ people to make it just about black gay or black trans. That's what they did with Black Lives Matter, where you had these leaders, these women who were LGBTQ people who, took a movement that was built on black death, that was built on mostly black male death, but also black women and children, and they turned it on its head to now be about all, people, or be about LGBTQ. When in fact, I mean, they're definitely dealing with, violence in their own community, but it's the same. It's not the same. And to try to make
I
it
agree with you.
is wrong.
I agree with you 100. I agree with you 100%. But now with this little Nas video, a lot of people are, very upset because it seems like every time they have an agenda, JP, it seems like it's always targeted at the blacks. Why do you feel that way?
Go ahead. Go ahead, JP.
No, you good.
In my opinion, and this goes back to numerous conversations we all three, the only reason why these things are allowing, and mind you, to be honest with you, can really be mad. Look what platform is. You feel what I'm trying to say? Look who's allowed to put it on. And mind you, if we had practiced unity, group economics, and racial politics, that stuff would be off the air in 2 minutes.
Yep. I agree.
I've seen people who practice cultural nationalism, and when I say that, I'm talking about the Jews, the Hispanics, and the Chinese. Disrespect it. Look what's going on right now. Just put something out that disrespects Chinese, it'll be off in less than an hour.
I agree. Yes.
That is a straight attack against black people and black men. And the imagery is not good.
It's not. I agree.
Why is it still on? Why can't we just hit up YouTube and say, hey, we need this off by in less than 30 minutes?
Right? Oh, that ain't happening. Because you always say that the reason we don't even have the economic to do that anyway.
That's my only thing. And this is why I say Little Nas X, him being allowed to do this says a lot about who we are as people, what we allow. Because let me tell you something.
Good point.
We live in I don't think people understand, we live in a very fundamental Christian country, especially going back down south, the Bible Belt. These things won't be played at Joel Osteen's church. Let's get that straight.
Preach.
Or the Potter's house, or whatever you're trying to say. You know what I mean? I've been a very avid, frequent, church parishioner at a lot of these places. So I'm saying this does not align with with black Christian views. So
no.
So in that sense, this issue's a deeper context, which we talk about a lot, and we need to just get back to the fundamentals of a lot of our core issues and things that would be allowed. And I wish we was more like the Chinese. The Chinese practice separatism. If you think I'm not lying, look at Chinatown. That should already be. Chinese people would not allow somebody to put out, a Chinese boy to put out something like that. You don't even see a Chinese dude in a video with goals in his mouth put out in the air like that. It's a bad representation of.
Yeah. One thing I find interesting is that, in terms of allyship with LGBTQ people or the LGBTQ community, what you find is that usually their biggest ally are Black women. And I don't know if they realize just how destructive that is for themselves. And it's almost, what I see a lot of the times is Black women falling into traps that are set for them. Whether it's, taking their frustrations out on the men, on Black men, when in fact it's not Black men's fault that we're in the positions we're in. And they put this certain, type of pressure on us to be able to perform when in fact within the group, within Black people as a whole, Black men proportionately experience racism more than Black women do, right? But in terms of LGBTQ trap, you're talking about competition for men already. Now you're bigging up a group of men who are in competition with you for men. Because when a lot of Black men go into prison, sometimes they come out LGBTQ now. They come out gay. So you're competing for your backing an organization or a group of people that are in competition for your man. And whether a lot of women want to believe it or not, it's a lot of men out here who can and who do get turned out. So that's on them if they want to keep supporting it in such a manner. Like we have to draw lines of demarcation. You have to say, I support you up until this point. Once you get to this point, now we have a problem because you just crossed the line. And I think that this video is crossing the line.
100%. Let me ask you a question. And I want to get to a little cool stance here. Biden's first couple days in office, do you remember the executive orders he had signed?
They definitely ain't had nothing to do with ADOS people.
100%.
Immigration, LGBTQ. We still
everything with LGBTQ.
Right.
No Black.
We're approaching.
It's the same thing like Obama. Everything is about which I because I want people to come on this podcast and be like, oh, you guys against homosexual, you guys against gays.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. So let's make this clear. We're not against your sexual preference is your sexual preference. However, when it starts involving the kid, that's when we need to start speaking up and say, you know what, you guys got to slow it down just a little bit. You get what I'm saying? But it seemed like all the orders that Biden have been put into place is for their community and only for their community alone.
One of the orders that I remember, not to cut you off, was where public schools now have to recognize transgender to allow transgender.
Yeah. Oh, but in Kansas, no, sorry, I think it was it was Arkansas. They actually put it in to have that removed, so they're not going for it. They actually are in court now for it. But you're right. You're right, Akeem. You're
everywhere.
right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was just one of the orders for LBG, where now men could be women now too. You know what I'm saying? And
wow.
And hey, you could play a woman's sport. But to the fact of the matter is, we always dissect these type of things. What is the solution? These type of try to rectify these.
Well, we need more men in power and stop having women in power. That's the problem.
I believe that 100%. You talking about in the black community?
Women.
Are you talking about in the black community?
In the black community, yes, and also in government. Period. We need more men in power because go ahead.
No, I was just gonna point out something because I had a couple of points I had made. I was looking up, but all right. So y'all saw that last article that came out a couple of weeks ago about Goldman Sachs investing.
Yes.
So Goldman Sachs.
I saw that.
If you read it here, it's in a business. Say Goldman Sachs report show Black American women hold 90% less wealth than white American men. As a result of data, Goldman Sachs is investing $10 billion to change those disparities. The problem with that statement is that they're comparing separately Black American women to white men in terms of wealth. You do not compare separately Black women outside of the Black family or the Black man and pour $10 billion specifically into them. Because what we have seen over the past couple of decades, even since the civil rights movement, is that with Black women, disproportionately, they are investing in them in education. They are investing in them in business, where Black women are the only women who outpace their men in terms of business ownership and in terms of income. We're at least equal or just they're outpacing us just that much, but the rate in which they're starting to grow is going to outpace Black men. And I think that this is what all of these different factors have to do. It has to do with further destabilizing the Black community and further destabilizing the Black family. And that's why I think we might get into that a little later. But in terms of, Black female masculinity, that is where that stems from, is the fact that Black women are looking around, they're saying that our men can't keep up, but it's because white supremacy is investing in you to outpace us.
Man, you dropping bombs right now, man. Wow.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
he's telling the facts. He's telling the facts.
They're emotional and we're logical. They're emotional and we're logical, and they are so frustrated with us that they look past. Well, let me ask you, who is Goldman Sachs? What makes you trust them? These are the same people that caused the housing bubble.
Yep.
And we lost 40% of Black wealth, and you're proud to take money from them that they're only giving to you when your men disproportionately are in prison in this country more than 8 other different countries combined. There's a study or a report I saw. Antonio Moore, he wrote an article called "The Black Male Incarceration Problem is Real and Catastrophic," and there's a graph there where they took in proportion men from India, Argentina, Lebanon, Canada, Japan, Germany, Finland, Israel, and England, and they compared the prison populations to Black men in America, and it was more Black men incarcerated in America than in these 8 or 9 countries combined.
Correct.
With so when that's the case for your men, like you're blaming us for the issue, you're directing your frustration on the wrong people.
I agree with you 100%.
Same here.
It's not only that; it's even getting worse, even with our political activists. Look at the commercial Tamika Mallory had put out there, where she said,
"I ain't getting started with her."
You see what I'm saying? When she say, women are running the world, we're gonna take over.
But she making a good point. But she making a good point. I think women are running the world because they have put man in the cage.
Yep.
But listen here, but still, Black women hasn't seen it yet. But as they get older, the things that they set in motion are going to be problematic.
Correct. I agree.
You feel me trying to say? That feminist attitude, and you know what I mean? You selling Cadillacs now?
That don't make no sense. Imagine Martin Luther King selling Cadillacs.
Oh my God.
Imagine it.
He would have been ran out of town.
Yeah.
This is you're right. Martin Luther King was telling people, stop buying Wonder Bread. Stop buying this. Stop buying that. At the end of his life, he started to get more on a Black separatism type situation.
Right.
But that's how it should have always been. But because of the structure of the government, they made sure to make sure that never happens.
No,
and that's the thing. Go ahead,
you are right though, but it's splinter groups like us here, like Antonio Moore, like Breaking Bad. You know, we can keep like Mishi X. There's a lot of people bringing the word out. Here's the thing: anything you trying to do without the Black man, it's going to fail.
Yep. I agree. Yes,
I'm telling you people this now. Whatever Black woman is out there, I don't care if you get mad. This doesn't reflect on the two co-hosts. Whatever you trying to do, and you subtract the Black man, you are going to fail. It's going to crumble. It's going to disintegrate.
Right. What's interesting, I just thought this, because, I'm an ADOS person, and everything I do, I come from that standpoint. But what's interesting about that Goldman Sachs initiative is that it's being led by a Black woman who is of Nigerian descent. Her name is Margaret Chinwe Anadu. So, and once again, like, people aren't on this level yet. Like, most of us Black people are not here to where we could see the differences between certain immigrant groups, right, and Black Americans. But in particular, when you talk about continental Africans, but more specifically Nigerians, they come from a different cultural structure than Black Americans and Black Caribbean people, because they're outpacing white people in terms of degrees. 60% of American Nigerians or Nigerian Americans have degrees. So this woman, like, they don't even realize. They'll look at her and be like, "Oh, it's just another Black woman." But no, there's another layer to it that you have to look at. And because, like I said, they tend to think with their emotions, just like they back Kamala Harris. They talk about Black women. How can I trust you? You told me to back Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris' record is what it is against both Black men and women.
They even with this election, this previous election that just occurred, the problem with this election, most of the people that voted for Joe Biden was all women. That's what people don't understand. It was majority women. The Black man was actually voting for Trump. It's because we wasn't really thinking out of our emotions. We were thinking logically.
80% of black women.
Right. Yes, that's a fact. 80%. That's a fact.
Mind you, piggyback on what he said. That African practice national, regardless of what anybody else is there, 2 F's about Blacks in America, Nigerian. 9 out of 10 is married. A lot of these people are race loyal. If Black Americans, if Black Americans or we here do not practice race politics, a lot of people might go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, not even race, ethnicity, because they're Black, but
that is
ethnic.
true. You correct me.
Right.
And you correct me, and that's what I mean, because this is why I'm trying to say, like, that's the main key point to why we're having that. Why blacks is just purely having a lot more issues. You're not practicing what a lot of other immigrants are here practicing, and you've been here in this country way before anybody.
That's because they're not descendants of slaves. Haitians are descendants of slaves. Jamaicans are descendants of slaves. Adolfs are descendants of slaves. These people, after the slave trade, within Nigeria, depending on the ethnic Igbos, they enslaved groups that, I guess ethnically they weren't their own people, but they brought them in and made them slaves, the Ohu and the Osu. So they come from very elite backgrounds. I've seen one person, an Adolf's ally, who was saying, I'm inheriting 2 houses from my mom, a 10-bedroom house. Like, where is that ever in our life? Like, we don't have that.
No.
But you see, they use the aspect of slavery to strengthen them. That's the problem with the problem with the Black African Americans. The thing is, we kind of forgot about slavery, and we kind of put slavery in the back rub, and then we became marginalized within this new society of America, and we really forgot where we came from. Now, remember where we came from. We can actually learn from Elijah Muhammad, learn from Marcus Garvey, learn from Malcolm X, learn from Martin Luther King. That's supposed to empower us to make us even stronger. Right. But it seems like every day Black man is getting weaker, weaker, and weaker, and weaker, and weaker, to the point now we can't even correct our women, JP.
Right. Yeah, and it's by design. It's not really choice based. Like for us, it's just by design. Like when the system is set up against you specifically, not really much you can do to overcome collectively if you're not engaged in politics, and if you can't see it. Most of us don't see it.
Definitely, and that's another thing. People need to start involving themselves in politics. If you're not, you're going to be left behind. Now, JP, I want to ask you a question. You're Adolf. Your move is very, very strong.
Yeah.
Do you feel, and I just want to be clear about it, I want to ask you, what the group is trying to accomplish in America, do you feel that Black women has heard that cause?
They've absolutely caused certain setbacks. If we're talking about in America, absolutely. Like, once again, it all stems, like, the perfect example is Black women's relationship with Kamala Harris. Like, when they said they went to Joe Biden, like, not just, it was Black men too, like Charlamagne the God, a lot of this celebrity class, but also Black women. They said we want a Black woman to be vice president. Well, there were other Black women. There are Adolf's Black women that chose on. He picked Kamala Harris for a reason. This is not a woman who is traditionally Adolf. This is a woman who comes from elite backgrounds on both sides of her. But when Black women see her, or Adolf Black women see her, all they see is AKA HBCU, that rap, that hair that's flowing down her back. That's all they see. But they don't say nothing about her husband. They don't say nothing about some of the recipes she talk about. She be cooking bolinari. Like, no, we come from collard greens, net bones. She over here talking about bolinari. And for Black women to say, they peep game so much, you can't even see a woman who is dressed in disguises who is playing against you. Y'all ignored her record, ignored her handling of My Trees Richards, ignored how she treated Cherie Peoples with that truancy law. Ignored it just because you want representation so bad. That's a setback. So yes, Black women are absolutely, or Adolf women or Black women in general in America are absolutely getting in the way of this movement.
Let me ask you, why isn't Black women race when it comes to, they're race loyal to certain things, but why not race loyal when it's social that matters to?
Because the thing, Hakeem, most of the women, they go by what they, not by what they hear. So it's whatever's portrayed in the media, whatever's portrayed of somebody tell them. That's the problem.
I saw, I was listening to an episode of Tone Talk. I forgot her last name. So her first name was Tiffany. She was saying that Black women don't want to admit it, but that they are involved in white supremacy in this country because they benefit. They benefit
a lot. Correct. That is
whether
correct.
It's Goldman Sachs situation, whether it's
the courts favors the woman.
They don't recognize it, but they do.
Boy, the job favors the woman. That's why they say they really don't need no man. That was somebody. I don't know who it was. I think it was you, Hakeem, the one that told me that
the government now became the daddy.
Oh, the government been the daddy since we started accepting welfare. Right?
Yeah. So when Hakeem told me that,
assistance.
and I really did research, yes, the government now became the daddy.
Listen,
so they don't need a man for nothing.
They don't.
The government pays everything.
You know, if you're a single woman in the projects and accepting Section 8, you can get grants and scholarships.
Yeah,
correct.
Black men don't.
And black men don't. No, if we don't have nothing, we back out on the street. So this is why we have no choice but to stay together. So it has to be a black man. Splinter groups, Black Lives Matters, and all these guys, they're not supporting black men to that, knowing that the issues that can solve a lot of problems in America has to be that family and bringing the black man back in its place. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have a Montero. You feel me trying to say? I'm surprised why a lot of black women are not rallying to get this video off. They the main one raising black boys out here.
Yep. Do you know why? You know why? Because they say he's expressing himself.
They're
not going to say that because he's expressing himself. He's becoming like, remember, he now became like the woman. The woman expresses herself. Yeah. Go ahead, JP.
No, I was just going to say, interesting. I heard somebody say the other day, I think it might have been Kevin Samuels, that black women are raising boys into the men that they don't like, that they complain about.
100%. You're raising.
That's 100%. Yes.
And
I know it goes deep in the rap. I would tell somebody now, you don't see now that have you noticed crime rate has gone high? You know, it's more black men killing black women than ever before now.
Another thing.
Nobody's speaking about that. A lot of black men now, the number is high of black men killing black women who they're dating now than ever before, because my opinion is because they see their mother and those women. They're mad at their mothers.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, well, in terms of, I was listening to an episode of Tone Talk. He was saying in terms of IPV, which is interpersonal violence or interrelational violence or something like that. He was saying initiation of actual attacks, like domestically, usually it's the woman. It's the woman who attacks the man first, which leads to, you know, a man attacking a woman, whether it's they're hitting or whatever it is. So I think women need to go back and kind of do some more research, because I think a lot of them, you know, and we all do, but I think they way too drawn up in their emotion when it comes to the role that they play, a significant role.
Hey man, it's JP, I ain't gonna even lie to you. Watching that video talking about, I do get caught up. You wanna know why? More and more we have y'all. It just seemed like it's disparaging. You know what I mean?
Extremely. Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Because to the point it made me feel like I might have to go.
Well, that's. But see, that's the thing. So I think
I can't get so dramatic, man.
No, but serious though, he's right. I think that's part of the plan. I think they're wanting us to do that. You know what's interesting? I go out of my way to reach across the aisle to go. Let me go talk to some of these Trump people and see what they really think. And I got into this white woman in the comment section on Instagram, and I pulled her to the side. I said, you know what? Let's stop going at each other. Let's have a real conversation. Do you know this woman tried to take a pass at me? It was like, you know, I'd love to have a mixed baby. I'll fly you out here. Like, these women really want black men.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yes. Yeah.
And black women struggling, as we see every night on Kevin Samuel's show. Black women.
Yeah, we got to talk about that on another episode. Yeah. But it's true. It's true. White women, and not that, the way they carry themselves, I try not to be, I don't know y'all see it. I think y'all do see it. I try to be very careful on what to say. You don't see black women now looking like clowns with their hairstyle. It be purple, blue. It be all over the place. And I'm like, it was never like that before. Even growing up, they were never wearing blonde hair, unless I'm probably silently mistaken.
In the 90s and stuff with Baps or, you know, early 2000s. But it just confuses me, because it's like black women, like the last girl I was talking to, she was dead set on not giving any form of patriarchy, to the point where she became a man in a relationship, and I had to walk away because I'm like, this is out of order. It's not gonna work. Like, we both can't be the man, and they're just so like consumed with thinking that like they don't even experience patriarchy in the same way, because black men don't run shit when it comes to when it comes to the structure. Nope. No, that, like, if you want to talk about domestic violence or any of this, we can have those conversations. But if you're talking about systems and structures, that ain't got nothing to do with us.
No,
and you getting mad at us. It don't. It's not. It's not us.
You're right. Do you remember when Kevin Samuel was talking about Tia Son Johnson? You ever heard of him?
I think I missed that one. Who was that?
So T.S. Johnson is one of his guests that he brings on. T.S. Johnson teach a black male masculinity.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about the
Remember you talking
right?
about when he said that the class are filling up with white, Hispanic.
Oh yeah, white women. Yeah, absolutely.
And listen, Asian, Indian women.
Yeah.
Everybody else wants your man, but you, black woman.
And it's by design.
You know what I mean? So when I say that I might have to get a black woman, I might have to get a white woman, I'm being literal about it. You know what I mean? Because the thing about that is, at least when you stand in a position and you with a woman who follow patriarchy, she's gonna have to go with what you say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of them are like that too, but not in the same way, because the resentment level is not the same level of resentment between us and white women. And the thing that bolsters our relationship with white women is that fetish, or is that curiosity that has always been there. Like, it's been there since slavery time. Like, I found out during my ancestry that my fourth great grandmother was a white woman. She had sex with a black man in the early 1800s, and that which produced my family line. Like, there's a very serious curiosity there that white women really want. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm not this. We all have it in our blood. Even my grandmother has a Portuguese last name.
Yeah, everybody makes the same thing with my dad.
Yeah,
my dad's
my grandmother has a Portuguese last name, town of mixed people. You feel what I'm saying? So we all have it in our blood. So, but the problem is back to now, where I myself getting older after I got away from the niggas. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I literally that when the nigga stuff. And I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. And you could probably agree with this. I had to leave Florida to fall in love with black people.
Yeah, he went to Boston.
I went to Boston
for years.
I went to New York. I went to D.C. I went to places like these. I was in these Afrocentric shops. I was in there. I was meeting brothers, and I'm talking about ADOS, not Caribbean people. Let's get that straight. It's ADOS that brought me back into the love of black people. So what I'm trying to say is, they made me feel like I practice race politics. Fuck what a nigga talking about. If it don't align with black issues, I don't want nothing to do about it. You know what I'm saying?
But you know why also you probably felt that way, especially in Miami, because I done been gone now for like 5 or 6 years. It's because of the culture in Miami from women and from black women. Yeah. Well, from all women, but definitely black women too, in terms of city girls and stuff.
There's God.
Like, they're mixing this like ratchetness with bouginess, right? And they're looking for men who have a certain stature, when the fact of the matter is that the average black man is not making the amount of money that they're looking. So you gonna wait it out until you magically run into this man who probably don't even want you, when it's black men out here ready to jump.
Ready to jump ain't the word. But listen here, not to get into a tangent, but they don't want the nice.
Yeah, they don't want that. Everybody, Hakeem, they gotta tune in next week.
We'll get into that next week.
We gotta close this.
We gotta close it. Yeah,
they gotta tune in next week. Yeah. But we gotta do that last closing remarks, because we gotta close.
Yeah. So my last thing I'm gonna say is and I'm gonna say this: it does not my views does not reflect Ronnie, but Little Nas X should be ostracized. Should be be excommunicated. The black community should not support him. I think Christian black churches, AME to the Potter's House, rally together to bring his video down. This is not an attack of sexuality. This is not an attack against transgender. It's an attack of black. And that's the last thing I gotta say.
My closing remark is, we gotta do better in our community. And this is a prime example. If the black father's not at the home, this is the end result.
I guess my closing remark is, you have to have a line. Like, there has to be a line of demarcation where you say, I'm not going past this. And I feel like with a lot of things that we see in our culture and the music and the visuals, a lot of people think it's harmless, but it's not. Because when you look at our generation and where we are in comparison to past generations that were more conservative, we're not doing well at all. The rate of marriage for millennials and black millennials in particular is going to be the lowest in history. So we need to draw some lines and stop not taking stuff serious.
That being said, Chaos Culture Radio, Hakeem,
we out. Man, I just appreciate y'all just listening. Stay tuned for the next episode.